There we go. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the live composing show. My name is Stephen Melin, and I hope you're doing absolutely fabulous today. It's really good to be back on schedule, to be back on a Thursday, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Man, it's been several weeks since I'm able to get back on track, get back on schedule, so this is really, really nice. Really, I hope you guys are doing fantastic. I wanted to start today's stream by giving a bit of an announcement because so often we kind of rush and start writing music and get into the gameplay and everything, which is super fun, but I want to make sure that you guys are aware of something really exciting that's going on, and that is called the Video Game Music Alliance. There is a link right here if you are interested in this. So the Video Game Music Alliance is a pro membership group. It's a community of video game composers. We are all in this trying to make a living. Some are beginners, some are pros, been doing this for a long time, and it's just this beautiful collective of game composers helping each other out actually succeed at this thing. At the time of this recording right now, there's over $1,000 worth of value inside this group. This is a monthly subscription group. There are master classes, courses, monthly live Q&A sessions. We have composing challenges, one of which is going on right now. So it's just this really highly valuable group. It's only been out since January, so we're relatively new, but we are growing all the time. And we're actually about to have a big launch again next month in July. So if that is something that sounds interesting to you, you want some more information, go to the link below. It's just videogamemusicalliance.com, and you can go join the waitlist. And just as a little freebie, as something that hopefully adds some value to you, you can also get a free download of one of my guides to $17 value. It's called Secrets to My Six-Figure Music Business, well, my video game music business. So grab that. You get that absolutely free instantly and kind of walk through a lot of the conversations that we have inside there, which have quite a bit to do with marketing, quite a bit to do with creating video game music packs, and really starting to sell stuff and make money and learn the skill sets that you need to do this. So enough about that, but you will be hearing quite a bit about that from me personally, but also if you're not aware, we're now on social media across the board for Video Game Music Alliance. So vgm.alliance on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, what else are we on? We're on YouTube. We have our own channel now. So we're hitting it hard. We're putting out multiple pieces of content every single day. And these are little clips from those master classes and courses and conversations. It's super valuable. So if you want to be a video game composer, there's so much free content available And you can also join the free Discord. So I hope that somewhere in there, this gives you the opportunity, whether it's on a free level or on a paid level, to really take it seriously and at a professional level. I hope that really does add crazy value to you in the same way that I hope that this show right here, right now, the live composing show, is just another way to get a peek behind the curtain of what it's like to work as a professional video game composer. Because this is a real career, guys. I actually posted earlier today a clip from one of my master classes where I walked through my income and business expenses for the previous year, so 2021. And it's a 6-figure income, and I walked through all the different things. And I posted on there, I'm like, stop telling me that composers can't make a living. Because like I hear, unfortunately, the negativity has a way of rising to the top. Almost every day, I just see another composer on Twitter, another person on Instagram, whatever, just whining and complaining. You can't make it in this economy. You can't earn money. You can't make a living as a musician. I'm like, what are you doing, people? If you could just channel all that energy of complaining and actually channel it towards positive and actually go work, right? So many complainers out there. So I hope my goal here is to always be a positive source of encouragement. Truly. I'm a family man, have 5 kids. I get it. Like, life's expensive. Over here in the USA, like, we're going through this crazy, you could call it a recession, right? Inflation, everything, right? Everything's expensive, but you know what? You can still make it as a game composer. So I'm just here to be that source of encouragement. This is real life. You can do this. It might not happen in a month. It might take you 3 to 5 years, which is actually the industry average for what it takes to finally get to that $63,000 US dollars or more per year as a video game composer. It takes a little time, but why not start today? Specifically, come join our group. I don't make these kind of pitches often. I want to see you guys succeed, and I'm so tired of the negativity. It's just driving me crazy. So that's literally why I created this group back in January, because I was like, I'm tired of this. This is stupid. Like, the path is clear. The path is it's a straight path. And granted, there's going to be little obstacles and whatever. We all have down moments. We have low months of income, whatever. But the path is pretty clear. Do these things and you will get these results. Plant these seeds, water these seeds, and you will get this crop, right? Like, it's kind of like farming. I actually love using a lot of farming analogies. So enough about that. If that's interesting to you, let me know in the live chat. Go join that wait list and you'll be the first to know. Before we start, I want to say hi because you guys are awesome. And I'm always so touched when, there's like about 10 or 15 of you that are here every single week. It just makes my heart so happy that you would carve out a couple hours every single week to come hang out with other composers. I just think that's the coolest thing in the world. So what's up, Gilday? Matt Everett, of course, hanging out in the other side of the studio. Got Jew, Micah, Toe Gap. Who else we got today? Will, what's up? Eric, Levi, Eugene. You guys rock. I'm so glad you're here. So today, I'm excited. I'm always excited when I get to do a live composing show. This is truly the highlight of my week because, number one, we get to talk about video game music as a group. Number two, I get to show you behind the scenes of what it actually looks like to work on stuff. And number three, I get to, let's be honest, when it's not a commercial project that I'm working on, because let's be honest, right? Part of our job is we have to sign a lot of NDAs, non-disclosure agreements. So about half of what I work on, I can't talk about and I can't show you publicly. And I really want to, but I can't legally. So instead, I do things like this, right? So if I'm not actively working on a commercial project, something like Monster Sanctuary or Beard Blade or Dark Dice, these things that sometimes I can share, sometimes I can't. So when I can, I do. And I hope you guys know that I have a huge backlog of hundreds of videos here on YouTube that you can go back and watch. If you're interested in that, like, let's talk commercial projects. Here's the brief. Let's walk through it. Here's the gameplay. But instead, on days like this, I like to choose a video game that I wish I could have written for, whether it is already released or it's coming up soon. I always try to pick a game that is really recent, like from this year, 2022 to 2023. So I actually have not played Horizon Forbidden West yet. I plan to because I really enjoyed Horizon Zero Dawn. I do have to say that I do prefer Zelda Breath of the Wild a bit better than Horizon Zero Dawn, but they're similar. They came up at the same time, but I'm curious to see what some of the changes are for this game. But more than anything, it is just stupid gorgeous, right? It's stunning. The graphics of this game and the monsters and the environments are so pretty that I want to specifically make sure when I write today, I'm going to write some exploration music. I don't want to be influenced by the music that's in the game. So it's on mute. I'm just going to play the gameplay clip of I forgot her name. It's like Alloy or something. Who knows? Whoever has played the game, please remind me of our character's name. But our heroine, out to save the day, she's over here slaughtering these mechanical dinosaurs in this crazy jungle forest thing. Her goal is just, it's an open world 3D exploration game. So I want to lean heavy into orchestral music today, and I want to treat this exactly like I currently am on some other projects, like preparing for live orchestra sessions. And I'm going to score it that way. So hope this is fun. I actually imagine this is going to be a pretty short stream today. Alloy, I think I got it right. Yeah, cool. Micah says, so let's dive in. Shaboom, shabam. Let's jump into Cubase. I tell you what, I've been using Cubase about 2 years now, and it has changed the game for me. I actually hated Cubase when I started, but I'm finding left and right, people are switching over to Cubase. I don't know what it is about Cubase. There's a lot of cool features in here. But generally, I just find myself in Cubase way more often than Pro Tools these days, way more often than Digital Performer. I used to use Logic. I just think maybe it's the organization. I can just very cleanly do aux channels and groups and folders and colors. That just makes it so easy. And hey, what's up, Sarah? Welcome. Let's do this, yeah? So the first thing I grabbed based on this footage is I wanted to do something pretty. So strings are just kind of naturally something I lean towards for the orchestra. But specifically, I wanted to play around with harp a little bit. So I actually grabbed an old favorite. This is Harp Harmonics from Play. I'm finding myself use way more Play these days because I'm trying to write more orchestral music. So there's an old patch. It's the Harp Harmonics as part of the Gold Symphonic Orchestra. Absolutely gorgeous patch. So there's a couple things I want to focus on today. Number one, I really want to use pretty orchestral instruments. Harp is definitely one of those. But I also want to really focus on the atmosphere. This is not going to be a deeply melodic, over-the-top, epic kind of thing. Instead, this is like gorgeous scenery. We're kind of hunting. We're walking around. So I want to really lean into harmonics and really pretty high sounds. So another one I wanted to focus on was strings, high harmonics. One of my favorite patches for slow music or very soft, quiet music is to use Ambient 2 by Spitfire. And they have this harmonics patch, which is so gorgeous. Check this out. That's it, just like a unison, high strings, one note, singular note, like this. That's just what I came up with so far. Right? And hey, what's up, Michael? Glad you could be here. And Alex. So that's one idea, one kind of palette I want to play with is something really high and kind of... we shouldn't really be able to feel what the time signature is because I'm weird and I'm freaking obsessed with 6/4 time signature. It's my default. It's literally the way that my brain thinks about music. So over here, I'm in 6/4 time, 68 BPM. I don't think in 4/4 time. I don't know why. Maybe because it's just so normal. But and I've talked about this. I've probably used 6/4 like 100 times in the last year on pieces of music. You guys always make fun of me for it, but it, for me, forces me to think outside the box. And I know I could use 7/4 or 5/4, whatever, like different time signatures. But for me, 6/4 is the perfect combo. It allows us to write in a 6 time, but also a 3 time. However, you could also, because 6 is divisible by 2, you can also do 3 groupings of 2s. You could very easily switch to triplet feel, which is just 8th notes. But you can also, on a dime, switch back to 4/4 for one measure, two measures. And it's just this really cool way of blending an atmospheric kind of style with orchestral. So to me, it just makes sense. And I know that's not normal, but that's just part of my sound. If you analyze, half of my soundtracks are probably in 6/4 time. Just naturally, the way that I think about music is to divide things into 2s and 3s instead of 4s. I don't know why, but that's what you get to deal with me today. You know what that sounds like to me is the ice cavern from Zelda Ocarina of Time. That was unintentional, but that's kind of the motif we're working with here. So the other sound, just let me move on. The other sound palette I really want to work with is Consordino Strings. So what that means is, I actually have a violin behind me if you want to see. This will be a fun little educational moment. So here's a violin. I play violin. I've played violin for many, many years in orchestras. And so I'm very, very sensitive to articulations on string instruments. And if you want to become an orchestral composer, whether it's for film or games or movie trailers, whatever, you need to understand that the string section is the most important. It doesn't mean that they are technically more valuable than woodwinds or brass or percussion, but from a sonic perspective, the string section has more articulation possibilities than any other section. They can do pizzicato, Bartok pizzes. We can do spiccato, staccato, legato, slurs, runs, fast, slow, mute, not mute. Like there's so many ways. Coligno, play with the bow, but the wood of the bow. There's so many ways to play this thing. So it's really cool that we have so much variety. And I'm very, very blessed that I started my journey, my musical journey, with piano and violin. So I kind of got exposed to most of the orchestral sounds early on. Part of my sniffles today. So right here, this little tiny black thing, it's a piece of rubber. When you put this thing on the bridge, it's the mute. So what it does is it mutes the sound. So if you were to throw up an EQ, what you're really doing is you're taking all the high end away. So all that shrill, nasally kind of sound goes away and instead is replaced by a very beautiful, dark, rich sound. So if you want to write soft music, quiet music, very mysterious music, you should use Consordino, which is Italian for with sword or with mute. Alrighty then. So that is the type of patch I want to use. And my favorite forever, my favorite string patch, my favorite library, it's still one of the cheapest, by the way, if you want to go grab this. It's by 8Dio. It's called Adagietto. I love this patch so much because it is time machine. In contact, it means that it's going to attach to my tempo. So even though I'm writing in 6/4 time, this sucker is going to make sure one whole note equals 6 beats at 68 beats per minute. So cool. And I specifically like to always mix my microphones. If you ever have this option, you should, I'm not going to say you should, but if you want to achieve the sound that I'm going for, which is a very intimate string palette, it's a very Japanese JRPG kind of sound. This is why all of my soundtracks sound this way. And when I'm preparing for a live orchestra, this is literally the way that I record. So if you want to imitate this, you'll get a similar sound. What I do is I always have my close microphones at 100%, and I have my far microphones at like 60%. So what that does creates these absolutely gorgeous swells. And I should also mention that the way that I'm routing my audio today, I also highly recommend you do this. This is where I create one reverb send. This is called an aux track, AUX, auxiliary track. So all I do is I literally create one track, or an effects track, an FX track inside Cubase, where I literally put 100% of my favorite reverb. So it's wet, 100%. I like Music Hall 2 from 2C Ether. I actually prefer this over Altiverb and really anything else. This has been my go-to. I literally use this on live instruments. I use this on sample instruments, and it always sounds so freaking gorgeous that I like to use it. I put that 100% on my effects channel. And then what I do, for simplicity and to save resources and for the best possible mix, every time I add a new instrument, such as my strings that I just talked about, my Consordino swells from 8Dio, in my routing, I make sure that the output is set to a strings aux, which is a separate aux that I created. And inside that aux, I make sure the send is being sent to the reverb. So what that is doing is it allows me to have just one reverb on the entire mix. And then whenever I want to create a new instrument, I will literally send that individual instrument, such as the harp, directly to the reverb, which is the orange portion. Or I will send it, in the case of a strings, I will make sure that the entire output is set to the strings aux, and then that string aux gets the reverb. So I know it's a little complicated if you've never seen something like that before, but I promise you, with all the composers I've worked with, and I've worked with some of the top composers in the world, especially in the game space, this is what they do. So if you'd like to, today, if you want to increase the quality of your music by like 1,000%, and if you want to sound like the pros, that's how they do it. The purpose behind this, I don't want to get into a mixing lesson today, but the purpose is when you have one reverb, it's one physical space. And then when you send all your different instruments different amounts to that reverb, you are creating what is called the X, Y, and Z axis, 3D sound. What we're really playing with right now is the Z axis, the distance. We're trying to decide, should the strings be close and intimate, or should they be really far away? Well, if you want to imitate a real orchestra, they should be close and intimate. But if you want to imitate woodwinds, which traditionally are very far away in an orchestral hall, they're in the back. Or trumpets or horns, right? They're way back there. They're sitting behind all the other musicians. So they should have more reverb in the space versus the close instruments. And that's the way that I mix. I really try to emulate a real space, and that is why they sound so good. So what you're hearing over here is the far and close mic mix over here, 60, 100%. And then over here, you're getting the reverb send to there. So there you go. There's your little mixing lesson for the day. And I'm going to use that for the whole track because it's one reverb and I can easily send it and make everything sound lush and gorgeous as if it's in one environment, as it should sound, right? So likewise, another palette that I want to play around with is Tremolo Strings. Oh yeah, I didn't even mention that one today. When you pick up your bow and you play really fast, sounds like this. Right? Very beautiful sound. And for this, I loaded high strings and low strings and did the tremolo patch on each. That way they're all together. What else are we working with here today? So far, solo clarinet. I thought this would be a really cool instrument to kind of throw in the mix because everything else is string ensemble. So solo clarinet, I grabbed 8Dio. What is this thing called? The Claire solo woodwinds. And this one is the clarinet, and I did exactly what I just mentioned earlier. I set the reverb all by itself, very, very close, so it doesn't feel so dry. Sounds like this. Isn't that gorgeous? I mean, that can just sing all day on top of something like this. And again, these are just little sketches I put together before. Let's do it. So there you go. Now you kind of know the basis of what I'm dealing with today. So here's my complete sketch so far. It's about 30 seconds of music. Let's listen. All right, what you guys think so far? I'm happy with just the general direction and texture. Again, I really only spent about 5 or 10 minutes on this just to get some basic textures out. But the way I paved the path here is I started with the Harmonic Harp. Something like that. And you can't even tell that this thing is in 6/4 time, but it's just kind of the natural slow vibe that I was feeling, because I liked these little, you could call it an ostinato. I liked this little riff I came up with. It's so simple. It's just G, E flat, D, B flat, which is technically a it's an A flat 7. The cool thing about doing a 7th chord like this, a minor 7th chord, I'm not even sure what chord. I guess it's an E flat 7. I'm just doing it in second inversion. What's cool about a 7th minor chord is you can play it on top of any chord in the scale. So if we're in C minor, that riff can literally work on top of any of those chords. And you can even play around with octaves. Like this. It's a pretty little riff we can put on top of anything. So my idea was to help move along the pace, let's take Consordino strings, so muted strings, and just to do the low strings. To me, there's no greater sound than a low C. But specifically, basses and cellos an octave apart with their mutes on. That's one of the most satisfying sonic sounds to me. And I can't tell you how many times I've used it in my music. To me, it's just like the go-to, because it's the lowest possible note on the cello. It's also the lowest possible note on the double basses with their string extension. To me, it has such a weight to it that you could put all this really high string stuff on top and get this sound. Like, I can't think of a better orchestral sound for outside of like big brass. I'm not going for that big sound. I'm going for strings, intimate, to represent the dinosaurs, like the mechanical dinos. But also the kind of the awe and mystery of exploring a world. So, thanks so much, Tetra, for subbing to the fam. Ooh, I like that texture a lot. So let's play around with Flautando strings. There's like 20, maybe 25 or 30 different ways to play a string instrument. It's insane. So if you take the bow and you play slightly over the bridge, there's soltasto, which is like horror music, like getting all the squeaks, getting too close to the bridge. Or if you get a little bit further out and just play very lightly with your bow, you can achieve a flute-like sound called flautando. It's really, really good when you're doing thick chords like this. It's not quite the same texture as Consordino, which is mutes, like this. Yeah, that's very like flat, even kind of sound with Consordino, but Flautando, you get this very whispery kind of sound. It's just a different texture, so that will sound really good in this. So the last note I want, look at me like a chef. Where is it? Where's my ingredient? I want the harmonics again. I want to go back to a high C. That's not high. It's C3 and C4. Like that, and then that'll be my loop point. Lots of different colors and textures going on here, and I think that's pretty cool. Yeah, thanks. I often sing while I write because, I was focusing on the chords, but really I was trying to follow the melody in my head, which is very, very simple. And I'm thinking, what would be a good instrument? Maybe a cello? Yeah, let's do cello. Look at me asking like I actually want your opinion. Just kidding. I just really, really am hearing cello in my head, so let's grab good old Tina Guo. And for this plugin, I like to go to the raw mix. That way I can do my own reverb, take all the reverb off, and then go over to my mixer and do my send to reverb. I'll do like -15. We're going to turn this sucker way down. It's a very, very hot plugin. Let's go over this way, and I want to really focus on those tension notes. So my chords are kind of walking down. Let's see. I'm doing B flat minor, F minor, G flat 7, back to F minor. Thanks so much for the sub, Josh. Basically just kind of hovering on a scale. I don't even know what that is. B flat. I'll probably change this note. I want solo instruments to be the melodies because it's a solo character in this big vast world. So to me, I just think in characters. I think of the drama musically, soundtrack wise. I really want the character to be iconic. Like the music should reflect the one versus the many ideology. I'm big into ideology and philosophy kind of stuff. Musically, I should say. So, solo cello, here we go. By the way, if you don't know who Tina Guo is, she's a world-famous cellist, first made famous by Austin Winery, who was a friend of hers in college. He hired her for the Journey soundtrack, and then Hans Zimmer got a hold of her, and then, of course, she did the famous Wonder Woman theme on her electric cello, and like her whole career has blown up. But I like to think that an open 3D game world is where she got her sound, her iconic sound. So I can't think of a better choice of a sample library to use for this moment. So that's intentional. Anyway, let's grab... So it's in 6/4 time, so I'm basically taking a 4/4 track and turning it into 6/4 by adding 2 beats of silence, 2 bars of rest, not 2 bars, 2 beats of rest, and then doing the melody. So it's rest, rest, da, da, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, rest, rest. And it plays with our expectations, and I think it's cool. Again, just kind of the way my brain works. Da 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 da. Outro. All right. Let's do it. 1, 2. All right, I started in the wrong spot. That's where I'm supposed to be. Measure 22. Let's put a marker in. Cello! That way we know what the heck is going on. Here we go. 1, 2. Right. I'm definitely going to quantize that. And anytime I use that particular library, it's very forward in its delay. So it's forward in its timing. So I want to delay it by negative 150 milliseconds. If I do that math right, that's 0.15 seconds. That way it starts on time now that I've quantized it. And the whole thing will line up perfectly. Now let's play on with the reverb because I'm not too happy with the mix at the moment. I'm going to make this even closer, see what happens. Leave a little space here. I'm going to let it overhang ever so slightly to make it sound a little bit more realistic. Ooh, that's a good loop. I like that a lot. Oh my gosh. I'm getting my Kingdom Hearts 2 on. I'll play that in a minute, but first, I have to get this little... Just like a little tease of what's coming. Let's find it. Maybe like just a little tease of what's coming, right? Okay, those tremolos sound awful. Let's fix them. I like the cello bit. That's going to work nicely. But these tremolos sound very, very intense when they shouldn't. Let's see what's going on under the hood. Maybe speed. I don't ever touch that knob, but maybe that's what's happening. They're just a little too tense. Okay, that's not it. So I'm going to do my own little manual autopsy. I'm actually going to remove them from the group. I'm going to make them their own reverb and make them super duper far away and turn them down a lot. Let's see if that helps. Probably also this. There's a little bit too much separation. So another really cool Cubase function here. Look at my keyboard. You can't really see my hand on my keyboard, but wait a second. There we go. Hi. On my keyboard, I'm going to hit, you can't see my hand, but I'm going to hit Control-Shift-Q. What that does is it quantizes the ends of my notes, as not just the fronts of the notes. Control-Q quantizes the fronts of the notes. But notice all of them now end perfectly on one of the grid lines, in this case, a quarter note. So it's a really cool way of making sure that everything stays consistent. Micah. Ooh, I like that decrescendo. That sounds really good. The mod wheel. I'm still turning it down because it's just so loud. Tremolo strings don't usually need to be very loud. Okay, I want these to line up. Here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1. So I'm going to make this a different, there we go, different rhythm. That's nice. It's pretty. And somehow still stays within 6/4 time, and I just don't even understand how it doesn't make sense. I don't listen to things that are in 6/4 time. I don't actively go out of my way to make things in 6/4 time. It's just literally what I hear in my head, and it comes out. So, there you go, folks. It's my trademark, apparently. It's loud. Okay, okay. I have the basic ingredients. I don't want to overwrite today, but I do want to feel the size of the landscape, if I could say that. Maybe the way of doing that is taking the CS swells here. What did I do now, Jew? What did I do? To me, the solo cello, again, it's like the protagonist, right? Alloy. So we feel her, but she's entering this lost landscape kind of thing. So what I'm trying to do is musically now fill in the bottom maybe it's just going to be a simple chord. Something that's like a low, beautiful chord in the strings that swells, that can kind of support the lead character, if you will, the lead actor. So here we go. Cello's the lead actor. Except not major. So what am I trying to play here? RoboQuo. Oh yeah, I mean, solo. I'll just pick on this particular library. It's perfect for slow stuff. It's terrible for fast. But I'd say the opposite is true for the Joshua Bell violin, which I adore. That instrument is perfect for fast passages and pretty bad at slow. So it's just kind of, you got to know your libraries. What are their limitations and stuff? Anyway. I'm going to be very picky about this part. This part matters. It all matters, but... Gosh, guys, I love this patch. In fact, I used this recently. I say recently, about a year ago, I used this patch for all of the Dark Dice music, and then had it recorded live. And it sounded almost identical. Crazy. Once I put it in the same reverb and space and everything in the session, it sounded almost identical, these swells. That kind of thing. Like, I recorded it live, and it's like, there was almost no purpose. So good. Anyway, yes, you guys. Michael answered the question for Micah. Invertone's great. Maybe something like that. Ooh, get rid of that note. Viola. Where are you? D flat. Maybe C down here. All right, this needs some low. Like here. So I'm going to put a little marker. Low strings should enter here. 26. That's what I'm feeling. To give it some more earthiness. Nope, I want B minor. B flat minor. I wonder if this should still be C right here. What do you guys think? Is it A flat? No. I don't know. E? Maybe? Let's find out. It could suck. Who knows? A little too dark. It's very romantic, dramatic. Might be too much because we're in C minor, so maybe E flat. E flat, A flat. Yeah, okay. Maybe this should just be E flat here. Cool. This is working out very nicely. So from here, I know we're doing a lot of orchestral, but because there's literal like robot dinosaurs, I want to get some kind of synth material in here so it feels a bit more modern than just orchestral. So I'm going to play around for a little bit with some synth elements. I want a synth harp. Also want a synth bass. And then let's play around with the synth pad. The pad's probably going to come from Omnisphere. The other two from Zebra. We'll just call it synth pad. Let's explore. I think the pad is going to be the most obvious in adding atmosphere because it can just hold a drone octave. Stuff's really, really good at that. Let's experiment. I'm going to turn it way down. These things are typically really loud. So I don't want to go too deep into this, but they have really good atmospheric pads. Let's actually hit the genre ambient, pads and strings, and let's just play around for a little bit. The whole thing is kind of hovering in C minor-ish, F minor, so I think I'm in the wrong patch. Hold on a second. There we go. Actually, you know what would be even better is gravity. So let me grab contact. This is a better use of gravity. Gravity by Heaviosity. They have really solid pads that are elements, ambient. Let's do airy and breathy. This stuff is so good. Inside heaven. I just think it's going to get us there way faster. Oh yeah, it's already better. They have this beautiful punish button, which is a staple of Heaviosity, and you can compress it like crazy. But then it sounds like garbage. So instead of using their engine here, I'm actually just going to throw one of my favorite plugins ever. It's called B2 by that same reverb company, 2C Aether. This thing is insane. It just makes things huge. It's almost like Metroid. That's a lot of air. Okay, now I'm going to carve it out ever so slightly with a Pro Q, which is an EQ. I'm just going to play around with it a little bit. That's going to sound really cool with all of the organic stuff happening. Here we go. Let's kind of float around in a C minor kind of landscape. My mod wheel doesn't do anything in this patch, so I'm actually going to let's find. I'll just go old school. Right click, learn CC, boom, boom, boom. Now it's attached to my mod wheel, and I'll turn the patch itself down about 12 dB. I'll actually type it in 12 dB like this. Now I can use my mod wheel as a volume controller. And it'll make more sense. Here we go. Just riding that mod wheel up and down to create some crescendos. I'm going to hold this C the entire track. But I'm riding that mod wheel. Just kind of going up and down, up and down. C's make degrees, baby. Pull it back, pull it back. And literally decrescendo to nothing. And then, boom. And it fades back in. Yeah. Cool. There's a lot of C action. Look at that. I mean, check out that mod wheel. Oh my gosh, where is it? Where's my screen? Where'd it go? Ah. There, that's the one I wanted. Check it out. I mean, I just rode the junk out of that thing and just a bunch of waves. Because there's no better way to do it than manually. Play it like an instrument. And then I'm going to stagger it ever so slightly. I don't want it to come in on beat one. I want it to kind of get this mod wheel information solved, and then it comes from nothing. That's the other benefit of mapping your mod wheel to the actual volume of contact by right-clicking it and learning the MIDI CC automation and then using your mod wheel, because that way mod wheel at 0 literally means 0 volume. And you can do stuff like that without having to bounce it to audio and just stuff. Now I am going to crank up, now that it's there all the time, I'm going to crank up the reverb and turn it down even more because it was a little too present. And you know what? Just for my sanity, I'm actually going to bounce that in place. Let's take a quick coffee break while I bounce it. There's a render in place function. It's Shift R, and you'll see it's just going to literally render that little thing. It takes like 2 minutes. I'll be back right after that, and we'll keep going. Don't go anywhere. Get some coffee or water if you're dying like me in this crazy heat. Okay, bye. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the live composing show. Hope everybody is doing fantastic. Got a refill on my coffee. It is a blazing, almost 100 degrees outside right now in Atlanta, Georgia. And so this studio is struggling to keep up. We're not at 100, but daggum, I think we're at 75 at the moment, just roasting in here. Poor Matt in his room is like 80. We're just dying over here. But hope you guys are staying cool, staying refreshed. I have to take breaks like that or else I'm just going to pass out and die. So hopefully I think we'll knock out this track before another break is necessary. But I wanted to answer a question from Michael in the chat. I think this is a good talking point for just a moment. He asked, how do I handle loops, specifically in a track like this, which is slower, which clearly has a reverb tail? Because if you guys have been paying attention, I've been using a lot of reverb. And anytime you have a plug-in reverb, you're going to deal with, at the end of your track, right about here, if you want to listen to it, there's going to be a very clear reverb that overhangs beyond the loop itself. So you'll notice there's going to be a tail that happens in bar 31. So it lasts about half a bar is what I'm gathering. So there's a couple ways that you can battle this. One of the easiest ways is to literally write your track around that concept. So what I could do is, theoretically, I could start my loop or end my loop right there, right where the reverb tail ends, and kind of make sense musically just to add 3 extra beats. Let's see what that sounds like. One, 2, 3. So that's the easiest way, because then there's nothing to worry about, and it's literally just a small pause, and that's probably what I'm going to do, to be honest. So I'm going to put a marker called out. Now, if you didn't want to, and you just want to go straight back into the beginning, then what I typically do is working with game developers. Game developers are using game engines. They're using Unity, Unreal, what's another big famous one? Game Maker Studio is another big one. Or in the case of like Nintendo Switch, they have their own proprietary stuff. And so what I have done in the past is when I'm delivering audio, I will actually create 2 different audio files per track. And I'll actually create one that is from the beginning all the way till the loop point. And then I'll create a second track, which is just the loop start with the reverb tail embedded in. And that way it's the first time track and the second time track. Yes, Godot, TOGAP says, is another game engine people using. And that way the developers can literally just throw both audio files into the engine and then tell the engine which one is the loop and which one is like the trigger, is like the original version. And this is particularly true in cases where you have an intro that only plays in the first time and then everything else loops. And very interestingly, when I was working with Monster Sanctuary, on that soundtrack, there were multiple tracks that had that circumstance where the track starts and then about 20 seconds in, that's the loop point. So the track goes all the way to the end and then goes back to that loop point. So they actually coded their own way of doing this with an OGG file, an OGG file, where I actually delivered a piece of music that looped twice. So if it's a 2-minute piece of music, it's actually now a 4-minute piece of music and change. And what would happen is I would actually tell them the exact time code that I wanted the track to loop back to. And that way it just saved a whole lot of time and energy, and it allowed me as the composer to decide exactly the millisecond where the loop started and continued to go, which I think is very clever, and it kind of shortcuts a lot of those things. There's a lot of different ways that you could do loops, but ultimately you just need to ask your game developer, hey, what engine are you using? And if you really want to have control, you can use middleware, which is Wise, Fmod Studio, Elias Studio, and you can program it yourself, where you literally throw in your wave files and you tell the Fmod, for example, you tell exactly where to loop, and that way that Fmod file session can be attached to whatever game engine they're using, and they don't have to worry about it. So if you want to really get into that stuff, you can dive into middleware, and you will have full control However, in the industry, a lot of game developers don't really care about middleware, so it just, it's kind of up in the air. But it can't hurt to learn that stuff. And that is some of the stuff that we do talk about. Here we go. Boom. In the Video Game Music Alliance. So if that is something you're interested in being a part of, just joining a community where we talk about video game music composition, production, technology, and business. We try to hit all 4 of those categories really hard. We rotate between those with our courses, our master classes, our live Q&As, the questions inside the community, our homework assignments, our composing challenges. We're constantly rotating between those 4 topics. And again, we have people from all walks of life, all ages, all demographics, all skill levels. We have complete beginners trying to learn the basics of how to actually write the stuff inside the DAW or inside a tracker or whatever, how to use plugins, software, sample instruments, mixing, all that good stuff, all the way up to the guys who are already making several thousand per month, and now they really want to make $10,000, $15,000 a month, whatever, and beyond. These are the conversations we have. So it's super fun. And if you'd like to be a part of the Video Game Music Alliance Pro Group, hit that link below. You'll actually get a free guide where I walk through how I make 6 figures a year with video game music, kind of dissect my business. You'll get that guide for free, and you get added to the wait list. And our next opening is in July. It's coming up soon. So you get to talk about all of this stuff every day. Super fun. And I know several of you guys are actually inside VGMA already. So anyone that's here right now that is in, say hey, and say, yeah, it's awesome. Or say, it sucks. Don't waste your time and money. I mean, hey, honesty always wins, right? Don't take my word for it. But anyway, back to the show. Here we are doing some Horizon Forbidden West. What I did on the break is I actually bounced out this synth pad because, well, it's a synth pad and it needs to be audio. So I'm going to call this BIP, which is bounce in place. Synth pad. Now I can visually see the audio, and just for my own sanity, I'm going to make it blue because audio should always be blue, don't you know? And over here, I'm actually just going to trim this bad boy up to literally make a proper fade in. Just like that. Togap says Mario Maker counts as a game engine. Sure, why not? RPG Maker. I used to make games in RPG Maker back in the day. Yeah, that's pretty. 2, 3. I think it works really well, and I like the synth pad coming in and out and leaving a space. I think that's really nice. Yeah, that adds so much weight. Here's one more thing I want to do audio-wise. In this synth pad, I actually want to add an S1 imager. This bad boy is powerful. This is a Waves plugin. What it does is it takes the sound, which is everything within the purple triangle, which is a traditional soundscape, soundstage, and you can, bam, you can move your sound around in a stereo field to be very wide or very narrow. It is so cool. So let's experiment with that. So here it is, back to normal. Let me put it back on 0. Here's what it sounds like. Actually, not 0, 1.0, I think is 100%. Yeah. So here's what it sounds like. Just the pad by itself. Listen up. Now I'm going to start tweaking it. Listen. Sorry. I like it right about there. I don't care about the numbers at all. I'm just using my ears. I want this to feel like it's taking up the entire sonic spectrum, but not all the way down to where it's like literally taking over, but not so skinny that it's not working. So that's a really powerful plugin for mixing any kind of sound. I do that a lot with choir when I record live choir, because I find that when you record choir, it has a way of feeling very narrow. And so I like choir to feel huge and like filling up the whole soundstage. So I like to spread them out. That's a good way of doing it. I'm also going to put a compressor on this. Let's do Pro C, because you'll notice over here, this is one of the benefits of using audio. A waveform is you can see how there's certain chunks that just get way louder than the rest. So what I want to try to do is tame down those little regions. The way to do that is with a compressor. Nothing crazy, but just a little bit of release. We want our threshold and ratio to be just slightly off. So if this is 100%, the little arrows pointing towards the center, then we just want slightly off. Maybe like a 10% amount. And now when I get to those loud moments, it's going to tame it down a little bit. And I'm going to use my ears instead of my eyes to try to find that sweet spot of, you don't want any of this to really get too loud. So I'll show you what 100%, like maximum, would sound like. It's going to sound squished and awful. So I'm going to back it up. Cool. A little bit of compression goes a very long way, so don't overdo it. Compression should not be used all the time. It's a tool for shaping sound. Anyway, moving on. That's enough about the synth pad. I want to move on and try to find a really beautiful way to sneak in some synth bass. Now, I'm not talking like a boom, 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 boom kind of like bass, but more like a legato bass. A true synth. Welcome back, Sarah and Jay Metzger. Whew, I tell you what, guys, these headphones are amazing, but they make my ears sweat when it's hot. Whew. I still recommend these things, these Sony's kick butt, the Z1Rs. Oh my gosh, they're amazing. Okay, I want a synth bass. I'm gonna go to basses and kind of play around with what we have. Ooh, the power. God, that sounds so good. I don't know why it's panned. Oh, that sounds so good. Not that kind of thing. Because there's two delays. I'm going to turn them down. I want to keep them, but just turn the mix down on each of those two delays because that's just too much. That's better. Okay. So let us start with EQ, because EQ is the fastest, easiest way to shape any sound before you do anything else. There it is. I think that's going to double very nicely with my organic stuff. It just needs to be turned way down, and I still feel like the delay is super overkill. So here's what I'm going to do. Let's turn the mix back up to where it was. I don't think that's the problem. It's the feedback. It's this right here. Too much feedback. Like it loops too many times after it. There we go. A lot. Let's find the way to sneak this in, particularly when the strings come in. So I'm going to be keeping my eye down here on, more so here, this strings Consordino. So let's see what notes we have. Hello, where are you? There we go. We have measure 9, A flat, B flat, C, A flat, F, A flat. So I'm going to leave this window open so I can visually see what's happening while I actually record. My synth bass, which is up here, there. So this is a cool way. If you ever want to copy another MIDI channel, you can visually open it up. Logic could do this really well too, but in Cubase, you can open up one instrument. I'm looking at the strings, but I'm actually recording the bass. And it's just a cool way to kind of visually see what you're doing. I don't have to guess on my notes. Like that. Let the show begin. Let's get some more bass. Here we go. As soon as the strings come in down here, let's find my notes. I think it's B flat, F, E flat, C. Just kind of walking down. Same thing. Let's go find our synth bass and record B flat, F, E flat, C. Coffee for everyone. I like that. Last element I want to add is some kind of synth harp. It's like plucky, but very reverby and delay to kind of fit the mechanical vibe, but still kind of fits. Kind of like the harp, right? The Harp Harmonics. But clearly sounds synthetic. That's the point. so many good stuff. So much good stuff in here. Adds so much atmosphere. So these are the moments right here. Let's pause. This is the thing right here. Whatever sound I decide would very much become the iconic sound of this soundtrack. Because up to this point, everything has been traditional orchestra, and that's fine. However, kind of everybody can do that in the composer space. So what's going to really separate me in this track, and if I was pitching this for real, I'd want to find a sound that really defines the character. And this is why I often create my own sounds, because it's a sound that no one else has ever used before. I'll record some weird object and turn it into a sound. You see that a lot in games because these developers are creating a brand new world with brand new characters and whatever, and so maybe, if I had more time, I would go record some kind of metal sample and kind of represent the dinosaurs and turn it into like a melodic instrument or something, or make it part of the percussion for the battle sequences or something. Or take some like lion roars and turn it into an instrument. There's so many things you can do to really try to immerse yourself sonically in that world. But, for today's purposes, I want to try instead to stay in the musical realm of synth. I want to find something that really defines the character. And it's going to be a little bit bold, and that's okay. No one's remembered for being sheepish, right? Like, you got to be bold in your music. It's okay to go a little bit left. I like this kind of style. More traditional synth. So I'm going to call that one Synth Arp. Let's grab another one, a Synth Lead. Something that's much longer in its attack. Almost more like a pad. Some of these are more in that vein. So much cool stuff in here. Very interesting. The camera's delayed? I hope not. I want to find a home for this sound because it's, to me, the right sound. Maybe it needs... have a few minutes to play. Experiment. Maybe something like this. I don't really want to go the bass route, but that's what I want. I'm going to call this synth flute short. And I'm going to keep the mod wheel down. And just do these little flourishes. I think that's the right direction. So it's not so harsh. I really like that idea. We're gonna really rob the high end, but just like really fit this in. I might even play with the mod wheel like this. That way it kind of represents all the octaves. That's cool. So the mod wheel actually makes the octaves change. Let me get rid of that one weird high note there, and I think that's solid. It's just supposed to kind of float around, you know? And I think it could actually use a little bit more B2, which is stereo. It's a big reverb. So here it is. Yeah, listen to that float around. Isn't that cool? It's just a color. Hey, thanks so much for being here, Dustin. That's really kind of you to say. Thanks. Ooh, that's good. That'd be good. Segue. Some tremolo strings. This needs to be a little bit louder, but yay, cool. Yes, who's asking? Jay Metzer. Yes, I'm controlling manually those swells. Yeah, you're talking about these right here, I think. Yep. And yes, I'm using my left hand for my trackball because I had some carpal tunnel issues years back from using a little mouse with my right hand all the time, and I had to use my left hand or else I was going to really destroy my right hand, and so I tried the trackball, which pro composers have been swearing by for decades, and I said, fine, I'll try it, and then fell in love with it. I love it. I mean, clearly, look how fast I work. We need some more harp to follow this cello, and I think we're basically done. Yeah, I want to just follow the chords. So we're going B flat minor, F minor, G flat minor, G flat major 7, F minor. You know what's funny is on my iTunes playlist, Skyrim played right before the stream. I was just listening to it. I was working. I think that's influencing me right now in a good way because I don't usually use these instruments like this harp. But it's a cool sound. But I like that we're blending synth too. Here we go. G flat, F minor, B flat, F minor, E flat, C minor, Okay, fine. I'm going to keep my original loop. That might loop perfectly anyway, just because I'm already decreasing the harmonics. It might just be a perfect loop. Let's find out this G. Easy way to do it is to literally open up the cello and my harp at the same time and just make sure that they're aligned. And literally just slide it so they both fit. But I guess cello happens late, so excuse my ear. Jude, don't get this video banned. Make good decisions. Thank you. I'm not sure if you knew this, one of our previous videos got banned because I think some of the things we were talking about in the chat. Or maybe because I had the gall to repeat them verbally and YouTube detects that. So, keep it kid friendly, please. I don't want my videos banned. Thank you. Do you guys think I should go, like, bring in some choir? Do you think that'd be overkill? Probably. But I'm gonna do it anyway. Just, like, tastefully. Just a little bit. I just think it needs it. Let's try. So, it's kind of funny. I've used a lot of choir patches over the years, but there's one. It was the first one I ever bought. And I still use it. It has become my go-to forevermore because it just works so well. And it's Sound Iron, back when Sound Iron was a thing. Requiem Lite. I don't even know where to find this today. I don't know who bought them or whatever. I think 8DO bought them or merged with them or something happened. Some other company. Anyway, I use this ensemble patch called Syllable Master. Go in here. Man, look at this, an interface. Look at that flaming PowerPoint text. All right, down here, phrase. And then go in here and put them on sustain. It's so silly, but this thing is a powerhouse library that still serves me well to this day. Ray says, there's no overkill in video games. Bring on the choir. Sure, here we go. You sure about that? Spamming the crap out of this. Okay. Moving on. So I am going to put some reverb on that because, you know, it's so epic. I do have to be very careful not to, like, go super overkill, so I'm going to turn this way down. Yeah, seriously, guys, if you need a choir ensemble, oh my gosh, this is the closest thing to the real thing I've ever used. In this context, I was thinking over here, something very quiet. Although I don't know if this thing can be quiet. So I think I have to break my own vow. It's like that's an epic choir. I think I'm gonna have to pull out a very chill choir. 8DO, man, it's like 8DO day. 8DO has. This might take 1,000 years to load. It's on my slow sample drive, but let's see. La da 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 dum. lots. Yeah, this is the Enceladus Choir. I think it might be the way to go because Enceladus is a very quiet, beautiful choir. Much more fantasy. Yeah, I don't know. I think my whole session's about to explode. Even just thinking about trying to load this patch right now is just a nightmare. Like, just trying to open the folder. Come on. There we go. Let's see what happens. Oh, lordy. There's different, I mean, just like string libraries, right? Sometimes you want big, epic, loud kind of stuff. That's when I would use 8-Dio and Adagietto, like today. But there's also times where you want really quiet stuff, and that's why I use Spitfire, Loegria. So choir land, there's lots of different choir samples out there. I think Enceladus is going to be the winner. Enceladus is not particularly epic. It's actually very classical. It's very pretty. And I think that's going to be the right sound. So let's see. Once I pop some reverb on it, let's compare. I think this is going to win the day. Oh yeah, it already sounds so much chiller. Thing is, even though that choir sounds slightly old, you double that with this kind of stuff. Oh my gosh, you can just go ham. Super hot in here. It's like 1,000 degrees. I'm sweating. least once per stream. We have to go psycho. Ready? Oof, it's about to get intense. I can't even handle it. Can't even continue. Wow. Can't even. How does one recover from such a thing? Well, you just jump back in. The little flute thingies. I'm gonna get the choir. Just very, very light choir. Oh, really nice with the strings. All right, what are my chords here? I can't read that. That's just a blob of notes. I think it's notes. A flat, B flat, C, A flat. I can hit a C today. C. Wow. How about that? Yeah. Very light chords here. kind of want to use choir in a very quiet context. I think I just want to do. I think I just want sopranos. Is that weird? Something about it. Very chill. You guys are kind. Thanks. Oops. Because I want to keep these C's at the top, because that's what the pad's doing. Oh, it's a drone. So I want to just hover the harmony note. That kind of thing. What are my chords here? I think it's... That's all it is. 2 notes. That's all you need. B flat, C. Ooh, that's pretty. I like that. So let me make them all kind of like that. Like very low velocity, very chill. Might even lower all of the mod wheel so it's not so intense. Nice. Oh yeah, like that. Okay, right when the tremolo comes in, I'll do. Just to have the presence there. Nice. So I'm not liking this section is choir. It just doesn't work. There it is. Yeah. Cool. I think this is just about done. The only thing left that I feel is necessary is to put a mastering plug in. My favorite is to use Ozone. So let me slide over my stereo stiffs. This is the glue that holds it all together. This will really make the track pop. I use Ozone Advanced because lots of good reasons. One of my favorite things is just to go to the presets menu, all-purpose mastering, and grab, depending on what I need. I feel like this one might actually really benefit from analog. Excuse me, analog. There's a thing somewhere. Might be in a different menu. I really like enhanced stereo image. That's a really good one. Maybe just start there. I think the analog one is inside EQ. Yeah, analog, mid-range, or warmth. It's a good place. In the maximization window, maximizer, I like to keep the ceiling at negative 0.3 dB. That's what standard industry is. You can do negative 0.1 if you wish. But more recently, I've actually had some stuff rejected for whatever reason. Some people really like negative 0.3. I don't really see a difference, but whatever. Just letting you people know. So check it out. Listen to how that little EQ bump, stereo imaging, and maximization just kind of bumping the whole track up a little bit. It's basically compression. How much that makes this track pop. It's pretty insane. Check it out. You hear the cello? Now how it's like, it just pops. All right, folks, that's about it. Let's wrap this party up. So I'm very happy with this track, and dang, it's like 2 minutes, right? Let's see. Starts at 5 seconds, ends, oh my gosh, at 2:45. Just wrote a 2-minute and 40-second track in 2 hours. That's pretty nuts. Helps that it's slow, so there's, less space to fill, but that's pretty sweet. And I feel like this is finished. It's pretty polished. If we were recording with a live orchestra, I'd just kind of do a bunch of overdubs with the strings and get it all in there. But I think it's simplistic enough and minimalistic enough that it really works. I'm now, in retrospect, very happy that I bounced that Synth Pad to audio. That way I could kind of play around with it over here in the mix with a couple more plugins and stuff. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this process. I want to remind you guys that if you're interested in being a part of our Video Game Music Alliance community, right now there is a free Discord group. Matt Everett, if you'll do me a favor and pop that into the live chat for everyone to jump in. If you're not already part of our free group, it's an excellent place. It's basically a continuation of this show right here. A lot of you guys are already in that chat. We talk all the time about different video game music things and what you're playing and, what your top questions are and that kind of stuff. We share tracks. But if you really want to take this on a more serious level to actually enhance your career from a business perspective, a career perspective, if you really want to dive deep into your music composition, production, technology, and business skills, inside the pro group, we're actually opening up again next month. That has been a huge benefit for everyone that's been involved since January. We're having another big launch in July. So if you're interested in being a part of that, that's an exclusive invitation kind of thing. So make sure that, boom, right down there, you go to videogamemusicalliance.com. There is a wait list that you can join. And when you join that, you also get access to free download. It's my guide to how to earn six figures with video game music. It's one of those things that once your eyes are open to how this industry works, it becomes, I don't want to use the word easy, but it becomes simple. It becomes very straightforward of what you actually need to do. And I think that's what a lot of people are looking for. They're looking for the next step. They see a world of possibilities and opportunities, but it's very overwhelming. That's the word I hear all the time. I'm overwhelmed. I don't have time. I want to do this. But as a father of 5 kids, you can do this. I worked from home for a long time with lots of kids. This is very possible. To build this career, I spent about 30 minutes a day, an hour a day. And then it turned into 2 hours a day. It turned into 4 hours a day until I finally figured out, okay, so long as I'm focused on what I actually need to be working on, I can figure this out. Sometimes it's custom music, but a lot of times it's creating passive income sources, things like game music packs, things like royalties and streaming, things like YouTube videos and AdSense, things like affiliate links, things like reviews of sample libraries, things like teaching, things like education materials. And by the time you start adding these things up, you can get yourself about 30 different sources of income in this space right here. Custom music is just one of them. And chances are you need some help figuring out what some of those things are, where your skill sets are. You need some challenges, you need some accountability to really push you. And I think all the members of the group, especially anyone that's in the chat right now, I see Will. Will's a prime example of someone who is kicking butt inside the group and really taking this thing by the horns and attacking it. He and I are actually working together to create a video game music pack to put on Unity Asset Store, to put on Unreal Marketplace, to put on itch.io and Game Dev Market. This is something that for me personally has been a huge source of income over the last 8 months or so. It's a really big industry that is prime for the taking for anyone that wants to jump in there. And what's so cool about music packs in particular is everyone can have their own lane. Everyone can have their own style and dominate in it. It's not like we're competing. We're all friends and we're all doing well together. And like, why not? Why shouldn't you get in on this? It's kind of like streaming, right? Everyone can stream their albums. It's not like if some dude's listening to my music, they can't listen to yours too. Whatever. Like, we can both make money. So I'm not going to say competition isn't real, but dang, like, let's help each other succeed. And then we all succeed, right? So I'm much more on that side of things. And anyway, I just wanted to really, really emphasize that if this is something you're interested in, jump on that wait list and you'll be one of the first to be notified when we reopen in July. And if you are not yet following VGM Alliance on all the major social networks, we're there now, and we're posting content multiple times per day. We're posting clips from our masterclasses, our courses, our Q&As, all sorts of stuff. Our archives are quite deep. We have hundreds of videos, which will probably turn into thousands of videos. Long form turning into short form. So it's crazy how much stuff we have that we want to help you teach. And again, we focus on those 4 things. So if that's interesting to you, I think that could be highly valuable. It's over, I just counted up a couple of days ago that currently within the group, we have just over $1,000 worth of content already since January. It's insane. And we have more stuff cooking all the time, and new stuff being built, and new guests coming in and teaching. Like, it's crazy how much this thing is blowing up, and it's about to be really big. And I have to really encourage you, if this is something that you want to be a part of, the price is going up. It's going to keep going up, and it's going to keep going up because there's so much value being added into this. I'm putting so much money into this thing to really build it into what the vision I have, which is it's the #1 community for video game composers. I think it already is, but I think we're really going to start dominating that sector as like the leading education platform, and it's turning into something so cool. So I get a little excited about this because it's something that I wish I had years ago. Oh my gosh, if I had this 10 years ago, 15 years ago, it would have been a game changer. Because when I grew up, I was the only composer that I knew until college. And I didn't meet my first video game composer until my graduate program. So I was already like 20, 21, 22 years old before I ever met a video game composer, let alone, I had no idea. I even got my master's degree, graduated, and still had no clue how to make money doing this. And so I hustled my butt off and figured out some clever ways to attack this industry that is inclusive instead of exclusive. And I think that's a key component. But anyway, I'll stop talking your ears off. I'm very excited about it, and I'll keep talking about it, especially in the weeks leading up to it. So look out for that. Come follow us on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Twitter. Did I forget something? Those are the major ones. Yeah. So thanks, guys, for being a part. Let's play out this final track from today, my take on Horizon Forbidden West. You guys have a fabulous weekend. I'll talk to you next time. Thanks for hanging out. Bye-bye.